looking at the wrong structure. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, definitely. I just think I agree that the knees aren't where the focus should be. That is a result of a poor mechanic, but again, the knee has very little range of motion in the direction we're trying to cue it. It can't change that. It bends and straightens. So the hip has, all the control and range of motion, and so does the ankle. If you think about what the ankle and the hip can do versus what the knee can do in terms of movement, that is absolutely key. If you can get it from the bottom, which is right where it impacts the ground, which is the foot and ankle, and then up at the hip where you have access to that movement, I think everything changes. So I do agree, getting away from cueing the knees to do something in particular is a brilliant concept that hopefully catches on to the world of training for sure.
So I know we're kind of running out of time, but I think kind of one thing to wrap that up, and then I'm going to ask you one final question, is that squatting is really like three components. It's an active arch, it's quality hip mechanics with glute control, and just a tight back. Like a tight, flat back, like just don't compromise on that. Have good hip control with glutes and some nice arches, and allow your knees to hinge in between those really nice active arch and the really nice active glute and a tight back. And I think that this conversation wouldn't be so much of a conversation. It would more just be watch that baby squat and, be a 30-year-old baby. But I wanted to just kind of ask you, we try and ask a bunch of our guests just one like pop question at the end. And if you were, with all your experience, it could be something from your physical therapy experience. It could be athletic. Your experience, I know, as an athlete. You played soccer for many, many years. Or just your life experience. What are three things that you could recommend that people do to help them be more well, to perform better, or just, something that you feel is missing in the equation that you see generally?
Three things? Whoa. All right.
I'll settle for two, but
okay.
Three.
First thing that comes to mind, I feel like if everyone got truly a strong core, I would be out of business. My PT practice would be non-existent. The number one reason people go to the doctor nowadays for any orthopedic issue is low back pain, and then neck pain is soon to follow, and a lot of that is postural in nature, which really stems from people just having weak core. And when I say core, I do not mean your pretty abs. I'm talking about lats, all the abdominal muscles, including your obliques, your transverse, and then we're talking glutes, hammies. It is the combination and use of those muscles in a way that allow you to have good neutral posture. You see how people in the military stand, and that is for a good reason. So if we could clean up posture and really improve people's core health. And again, that is not by doing crunches and sit-ups. Those are about my biggest pet peeve on the planet, because most of the planet tends to sit all day, drive, sit on a couch, watch TV, which puts us in that flex position anyway. And the last thing I want to go do is promote, perpetuate, and strengthen in that position. So again, I'm a big fan of core when we're talking about planks and push-ups and glute, hamstring bridging, things like that really promote a nice, healthy core. I think that would change a lot of the dysfunction that we see in the world today. Another big thing I feel like people really take for granted is nutrition and hydration. It's just such a big component, and I think people aren't as educated on it as they need to be, and people get into these fad, diets or, strange ways of managing life and food, but really, to me, it is so basic and simple. If you could keep things with as low human intervention as possible, really the less processed, more organic, go to a farmer's market, things like that, I think that would also change, people's performance and mobility and risk of injury, and all of the things that we see is something that's not even really exercise based. It really truly is the foundation of all things for health and wellness for me. And then I think the last thing would really to understand training and progression. I think a lot of people think more is better, and it's what keeps me in business. It's also why there's a big push for things like rhabdomyolysis out there, and people getting hospitalized from exercising too much, and I think really people getting a little more educated on appropriate training progressions and regressions, and focus more on technique and alignment and mobility instead of hundreds of repetitions of things that really fall apart in the midst of fatigue and frustration. And so those are probably my 3 highlighted things that I have a soapbox about for sure, and would love to talk about at greater depth at another show. But I would say those are my keys.
Those are some great keys. Funny enough, they actually kind of fall into 2 sayings I have, which is more isn't better, better is better. And eat 1 ingredient foods, meaning the food is the only ingredient. So those are 3 great ones, and I would absolutely love to have you back, because you have such a wealth of knowledge and experience, and you see such a breadth of people. From highest performing athletes. I mean, we have pictures on the wall here of major pro athletes, and then you also see average people sitting at their desks, and it's really interesting to see how they're all the same performing system on a continuum. So I definitely would love to have you back. Tell the people where they can find you. I'll definitely link it all in the show notes.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I'm Christie Powell, CP. You can get me at championperformance@hotmail.com. I'm old school, of course. Also, we do free consultations if you're in the Austin area for physical therapy. Our office number is 512-996-0441. I'm always happy to look at people and kind of see if you need some direction or some help on, if you need rehab or you need to see a doc or anything that's orthopedic in nature. So feel free to holler at us and stop by. And then Scott's got some links to some of the videos we've posted already, and my contact information is on there as well. Cool.
Well, thanks, CP, for joining us today. It's been really cool to catch up, and that's it for today for the Wellbeing Podcast, and I will check in with y'all later. Peace.